coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Reactions continue to pour in today after former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home was raided by the FBI yesterday. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks so much for joining us today. Some Donald Trump supporters are lashing out at the Justice Department, but legal analysts say a federal judge would not have granted a search warrant without probable cause of a crime. CNN's Amy Kiley has details about the documents in question.
The purpose of the raid, from what they said, was because the National Archives wanted to, corroborate whether or not Donald Trump had any documents in his possession.
Former President Donald Trump and his family confirm the FBI searched his Mar-a-Lago home yesterday and seized items from it. Trump's attorney says he'd been cooperating with federal agencies.
This is a very convenient way to just throw a little more mud on Donald Trump.
These GOP governors are calling the move alarming and a weaponization of the Justice Department. These lawmakers say this makes the U.S. look like a third world country. And House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is tweeting this at the Attorney General. But to get a search warrant,
you have to go before a federal judge and convince that judge that there is probable cause to believe both that a federal crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is contained within the space.
There's even more strict rules for classified documents being removed from official premises because of the damage that can do to national security.
And if the search warrant involves a former president,
the world needs to move. I can't overemphasize how big of a deal this would have been within the Department of Justice and the FBI.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Supporters of former President Trump are protesting the raid at his residence today. A smaller crowd remains gathered near the private club after a more spirited protest there overnight. Some holding signs claiming Trump won the 2020 presidential election. Meanwhile, the House Ways and Means Committee now has the authority to obtain former President Trump's tax records from the Treasury Department. This comes after a 3-judge panel unanimously sided with the Biden administration today, ruling against a legal challenge to block tax officials from handing over the records. The committee is expected to receive those records immediately. Matt.
We saw some rain across mid-Missouri last night. When I was talking at 5, it looked like those storms would travel along I-44, but they really traveled more along Highway 54, bringing some showers and thunderstorms into central Missouri. Radar estimated totals anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. I think those totals are generally a little high, but it was really a case of the haves and the have-nots. Let's zoom into Columbia and Boone County and really talk about it. Columbia and downtown MU campus picked up only a trace amount of rain. Meanwhile, the Columbia Regional Airport picked up over ½ an inch of rain. Just goes to show the big difference. Cloud cover off to the south, a stationary boundary in those southern counties. That's going to create a difference in our temperatures for tonight. I'm going to track that difference coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Matt. For the first time, Missouri voters will be deciding whether to legalize marijuana for recreational use when they head to the polls in November. An initiative petition officially has enough signatures to get the issue on the ballot. KOMU-based Nate Brenner took a look at that amendment and what it would mean in Missouri. Nate.
Emily, today at 5 p.m. was the Secretary of State's deadline to approve citizen initiative petitions for the November ballot. Legal Missouri 2022 had been collecting signatures to legalize recreational marijuana. Now, that issue will go to the voters of Missouri. The petition met the minimum signature requirement across 6 of Missouri's 8 former congressional districts. If approved, Amendment 3 would allow Missourians 21 and older to possess, purchase, consume, and cultivate marijuana. It would also allow Missourians with nonviolent marijuana offenses of 3 pounds or less to expunge their criminal record. Advocacy groups are now spreading the word after guaranteeing its spot on the ballot.
We're going to be entering in the campaign persuasion phase here soon, and that's where our job is to educate the public on the points of the initiative, what it does, when it does it, and how it works.
The vote to legalize recreational marijuana is one of 5 certified ballot measures for the 2022 election, including the potential establishment of a funding minimum for police forces across the state. The deadline to certify additional measures is August 30th. In the studio, Nate Brenner, KOMU 8 News.
The Rotary Club of Jefferson City welcomed new public and private school teachers to the area. More than 100 new teachers came to a lunch at Capital City High School. The district still has some openings for science and math teachers, but Superintendent Brian McGraw says they will not settle for just anyone.
You know, nationwide you see teacher shortages, so it's a challenge to hire, recruit and retain so many staff, and obviously we want to have the best and brightest here in JC schools, so it's always a little bit more difficult to find the right candidate, so we continue to pursue great teachers for our kids.
McGraw also says teachers must be kid-centered and bring a passion for teaching every day. Any interested applicants can find out more details on our website, KOMU.com. Well, school starts in just a couple of weeks, but will there be enough bus drivers this year? One student transportation service says it's more confident heading into this school year. KOMU-based Sean Carrier joins us now in the studio to update us on the need for bus drivers. Sean.
Student Transportation of America is one of the large public school bus services in mid-Missouri. STA has had several hiring events over the summer, which has led to more jobs being filled. However, the company is still looking for more drivers. Here are the details of the hiring process for STA. Trainees will receive $15.75 per hour throughout the training process. That process takes 3 or 4 weeks and ends with a test conducted by the Missouri Highway Patrol. Once drivers pass that test, pay increases to $18.50 per hour. And drivers are also receive a $500 signing bonus once they get their commercial driver's license. One STA representative says that while they are still looking for more drivers, they should have enough when Columbia Public School starts in just 2 weeks.
I will tell you that we are better fit so far this year than we were at this time last year. Do we have all the drivers that we would want? No, we don't have all the drivers that we want. Do we have all that we need to be able to do the routes? I believe so.
To find more information or a link to apply, visit this story on KOMU.com. In the studio, Sean Carrier, KOMU 8 News.
Coming up, find out what we can expect after President Biden signed the CHIPS Act into law this morning. Plus, how Columbians are dealing with rent rates, and it's not all bad news.
And temperatures are currently in the middle 80s across central Missouri. A little bit of some cooler air to the south where that cloud cover is held on, but that trend flips over tonight. We'll talk about it coming up.
But first, you're taking a live look over Columbia Regional Airport. Your time is 5:06 on your Tuesday. This is KOMU 8 News, first at 5, coverage you can count on. Welcome back. A survey from Rent.com found that Columbia has the 15th cheapest average rent in the country. The data was based off cities with a population of at least 50,000 people. But even with this ranking, the average price of rent has dramatically increased since last summer. KOMU-based Steffi Roche joins us now in the studio. And Steffi, let's talk numbers. What is the average cost of rent right now here in Columbia?
Well, in Columbia, the survey finds the average cost of rent is $915 per month. You can see that down here. Even though that's the 15th cheapest in the U.S., it has actually risen by nearly a 20% increase since 2021. And that's according to the survey data. I talked to real estate market experts today, and some potential reasons for rent skyrocketing in Columbia include the pandemic's effect on college students. The big driver for the rental market in Columbia is the college student population. During the pandemic, when many students took classes virtually from home, the rental market in Columbia likely was in a depression. But now the demand for off-campus housing is significant. One group that helps with rental assistance says the cost of rent is increasing across the country, but salaries and wages are not keeping up.
But rent here, the average is about $1,000 a month. But in most cities, wages are a lot higher as well, so they're paid more, so they can afford that cost of living and those higher mortgage or rent rates.
The Yarko companies in Kansas City conducted their own study and found rents are up nearly 10% year over year. Kansas City ranked 72nd cheapest rents in Rent.com's survey. I'll have more on that tonight at 6. In the studio, Steffi Roche, KOMU 8 News.
Here's what's happening right now. A Mississippi grand jury declined to indict the woman whose accusation set off the lynching of Emmett Till in 1955. The district attorney where the trial is happening says the grand jury determined there was insufficient evidence to indict Carolyn Bryant Dunham on charges of kidnapping or manslaughter. Coming up, the CHIPS Act signed into law today. Find out how the bill is aimed to compete with the Chinese economy.
Temperatures today reached the middle 80s. 86 was our high temperature. Our low was 70 degrees. Overall, it averages out to a seasonal day. We'll talk about how long this seasonal weather sticks around coming up.
President Joe Biden signed the CHIPS and Science Act into law today. The bipartisan bill aims to strengthen U.S. competitiveness with China by investing in domestic semiconductor manufacturing and science research. During a signing ceremony in the Rose Garden this afternoon, the president called it a, quote, day for builders. Biden says this bill will stimulate growth in the economy.
To create good jobs, empower workers, grow the economy. Not just for the wealthy, but grow for everyone. To change the course of human health and disease. To tackle climate crisis with innovation and jobs.
The event was attended by tech executives, union presidents, and lawmakers from both parties. The Biden administration is also preparing to move forward with a plan to stretch the limited supply of monkeypox vaccine doses. Two people familiar with the plans said it would let providers issue a shot of 1/5 of a dose as currently recommended. The move comes less than a week after the Biden administration declared monkeypox a public health emergency. Rudy Giuliani's testimony before a special grand jury in Atlanta has been tentatively rescheduled. The attorney to former President Donald Trump was set to testify today in Georgia's 2020 election probe, but his attorneys filed an emergency motion delay citing Giuliani's recent heart procedure. Today, Fulton County Superior Court judge moved that testimony to August 17th. Doug Mastriano and his attorney appeared virtually before the January 6th committee today. Mastriano is currently running for governor in Pennsylvania. According to a source, Tuesday's meeting only lasted about 15 minutes, during which he did not answer a single question from the lawmakers. Instead, his lawyer took issue with procedural matters and cut off the procedure moments after it began. Donald Trump's former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is scheduled to meet with the January 6th committee as well today. According to a source familiar with the matter, the deposition was done virtually. Pompeo was the director of the CIA during the first year of the Trump presidency. For the last 3 years, he served as the head of the State Department. Matt.
Let's start with some summer statistics. Overall, our long-term average number of nights with a low temperature at or above 75 degrees is about 4. The 30-year average, 3.6. So far in 2022, we've had 14 nights with low temperatures at or above 75 degrees, and that's officially made our record list. It's now the 8th most in a summer. With 14 days, of course, we could potentially move up a few more spots. We've got several more days of summer left to go. The whole month of August still to come. A stationary boundary off to our south going to create a separation in temperatures tonight. A lot more cloud cover along that boundary as well. And with that cloud cover, areas to the south going to stay a little bit warmer. But look at this, our neighborhood forecast showing some folks could drop down to the upper 50s tonight. 59 potentially in Macon, 62 in Paris, 62 in Wellsville, 62 in Fayette. Those southern counties going to be a little bit warmer. 64 in Ashland, 66 in Lynn, potentially 68 degrees in St. Elizabeth. So a big difference there. I also think we're going to wake up to some patchy fog across the region as well. Here's a look at that fogcast visibility going to be reduced a little bit in spots. I don't think it's going to be too bad for us, but if you live in an area that's susceptible to fog, you might wake up to some of this patchiness. This all clears very quickly, and we'll see the sunshine kick in through the rest of the day. Temperatures overall going to be on a bit of a roller coaster. We're at 87 tomorrow. I think we get up to 90 on Thursday ahead of another weak cold front. That weak cold front doesn't do too much for us. It drops us off to the middle to upper 80s again on Friday. Then for the weekend, we'll see that temperature start to rise again. A little more humidity filtering in by the weekend too, but I don't think it's going to be too much for us. Skies remaining clear for Thursday. In fact, I think Thursday is a lot of sunshine. Watching a slight chance of some rain coming out of Iowa on Friday. I think those chances are looking better for northeast Missouri near Hannibal, but we'll have to keep an eye on this. This could actually increase a rain chance, maybe even keep things a little bit cooler on Friday, so something we'll have to keep in mind. Overall, mostly sunny skies for the next 3 days, abundant sunshine even on Thursday. By the weekend, we get a little more cloud cover and a little more humidity kicking back in. Noticeable great levels for the time of the year. By Saturday, we're getting closer to sticky, and by Sunday, we are going to be feeling sticky again, but even in the middle to upper 60s for a dew point, that's not all that bad considering where we've been. For tonight, 65 degrees, mostly clear skies, 87 tomorrow, patchy morning fog, mostly sunny skies, winds out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. We should be near 90 on Thursday, 87 on Friday. We'll see that temperature increase as we head into the weekend. Low to middle 90s for us. Temperature is going to be in the 60s to 70s to start the day. 71 on Monday morning, 91 Monday afternoon, back into the 80s Tuesday and Wednesday. But let's go ahead and give you the first alert because we're kind of getting into that time of the year where we're going to start thinking about back to school time. So the 8 to 14-day outlook, August 17th through the 23rd, shows below average temperatures potentially in the region. I don't think we're going to get cold by any means, but we could be looking at more highs in the 80s and even some 70s as we head into the middle of August. We're going to be watching that. Looks like our drier than average trend is going to continue too. We'll watch it and we'll keep you updated, Emily.
Talking back to school. Okay, thanks, Matt. Why it may be cheaper to shop online these days, we'll explain after the break.
Right now, our exclusive inside the U.S. Space Command's Joint Ops Center and the disturbing revelation about a new Russian satellite. Plus, Snapchat gives parents a new tool to help keep teens safe online. But how far do they go? Ahead on Nightly News.
Snapchat says it wants to help parents keep their children safer. The social media app is rolling out a new tool called Family Center. It lets parents see who kids are messaging without seeing the messages themselves. Parents would have to create their own Snapchat account, and kids would have to opt in to allow parents to use the feature. Family Center comes after a Facebook whistleblower spoke up last fall about social media's impact on kids. Consumers who shop online are getting a break. E-commerce prices dropped 1% in July on a year-over-year basis. That's according to Adobe. Although analysts say these findings could result in the easing of concerns about a recession, they say it could be a while before overall inflation returns to normal. Adobe says a lack of consumer confidence, less spending, and overstocked retailers are the cause. We'll have one final check of your forecast coming up after this break. Here's a look at one of our top stories today. For the first time, Missouri voters will be deciding whether to legalize marijuana for recreational use when they head to the polls in November. A citizens initiative petition met the minimum signature requirement across 6 of Missouri's 8 former congressional districts. So if approved, Amendment 3 would allow Missourians 21 and older to possess, purchase, consume, and cultivate marijuana. It would also allow Missourians with nonviolent marijuana offenses of 3 pounds or less to expunge their criminal record. Coming up at 6 o'clock, a new mental health hotline is helping farmers and ranchers in Missouri. Find out why it was launched at 6. Matt.
Temperatures starting in the middle 60s tomorrow. We're going to get into the 80s for the afternoon with mostly sunny skies.
Okay, we'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.
Nightly News is coming up next.